Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of Catching Up. I'm your host, Lauren Kalil. Today on the show, we have an athlete who made a name for herself at the CrossFit Games in the teenage division, taking fourth in her age group in 2015 and then second in 2016. But most recently, she's making a run to go to the games as an individual. We have Alexis Raptis with us. How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Good. It's so great to catch up with you after you recently moved away from Utah, originally from Michigan. Now you're
Mhm.
spending winters in Georgia.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's 65 and sunny right now in the middle of winter. And I'm not used to that at all. And I love it. I'm like, I don't want to leave. I want to stay here forever.
Do you have a timeline of a plan of how long you want to stay in Georgia?
Originally I planned to be here for the season.
Mhm.
So until July or whatever. But we'll see. I'm kind of just taking it one day at a time. I'll for sure be here for the full season, but then not really sure if I'll stay like full time or maybe uh, just kind of play it by ear, I guess. We'll see. Not really sure yet.
Well, the blue skies, they look great right now in the middle of winter. You're outside, so enjoy it while it lasts,
I know,
whether
I
it's
am.
So the reason why you moved to Georgia, you're training at Training Think Tank now. You're there with your coach in person, finally, Adam Rogers, many other competitive athletes that train at TTT, Travis Mayer, Sarah Sigmund's daughter recently moved there, and many other really competitive athletes under that training camp facility. What has it been like so far in just the couple weeks that you've been in that environment?
Oh my God. It has been, first of all, it's been probably the most fun last year was super fun too. It's every time I come here, it's just the most fun I've ever had training. Like I love to train, and for the past, however long I've been in CrossFit, 8 years, I've always loved it. But when I'm in this environment, it's like something I've never been a part of before. It's just so you just push yourself way harder than you would on your own.
Mm.
It's so much fun. We're like constantly just making each other better every single day. Um, we just I look forward to training every single day now because I have people who are the best in the world next to me. And so it's literally just like back and forth every single day. We're just training. And um, I mean, I feel like I'm able to see the progress easier, I guess, being able to be here on site just because I am seeing what people are doing. And so it gives you kind of a gauge of where you're at. I think
Mm.
for me, I always be super hard on myself and be like, oh, I'm like, so and so probably could have done this, or like these girls are probably going so much faster. But then you realize everyone really is just a human being and you can only go so fast. And it puts it into perspective and it makes it more realistic when you're training with games athletes. And so, yeah, it's just so much fun. The environment is just so positive and everyone's so uplifting. And it's just great. I love it.
From what I've seen on your social media, it looks like you've been back to normal training when it comes to your squatting again. I just think I saw you doing ring muscle ups with a weighted vest, but during quarterfinals, you had mentioned that you were dealing with a leg injury that you ultimately had surgery this past fall on. What's the recovery been like for you? Are you back 100% just yet?
I would say I'm close. I'm doing everything now. I just haven't been able to squat for the past 3+ months. I found out back. So after I started feeling something in my leg during quarterfinals. It wasn't anything crazy. It just kind of felt like my leg was really sore in my quad all the time.
Mm.
Trained, did West Coast, and then the last chance. And then after that, I took a little bit of time off. And then as I was getting back into training, it was worse after I took time off. And I ended up getting an MRI done, and there was a ganglion cyst in my leg. And
Mm.
so, like my whole knee looked really good. My quad looked good, which I was worried about. I thought I had like torn my quad or something. And so they said, I mean, I could either just let it be, or I could try and get it drained, or I could get it removed. And so we tried to drain it at first, but I think the way my doctor explained it is I had waited so long that the fluid inside of it had like thickened, I guess. And so they couldn't
Oh
just
my
drain it
God.
out. Yeah. So I had to get it removed, which was super frustrating just because if I would have known that, I would have done it earlier. I honestly didn't know that it would be like that.
Yeah.
So I ended up getting surgery, I think end of October. And so I was expecting to walk out and be like on my feet after surgery. And that was not the
I'm
case.
ready, coach. Put me in.
Yeah, no, seriously. I'm like, oh, just take it out. I'll be good. And I was on crutches for a month, which was to think
Oh my
that from
God.
a little cyst, I would have had to have that. But yeah, crutches. And then it took me a really long time to just get my leg to function how it normally would. It just like I was
Mhm.
having really weird like nerve pain after, and I just couldn't move my leg the way I wanted to. I couldn't even get into a squat, even if I wanted to get into a squat for the longest time. And so it had taken, I don't know, 2 or 3 months before I started actually doing air squats again. So probably like a month ago, I started doing air squats again. And then the past few weeks here, we've started squatting again. And it feels like in my head, I thought it would take forever to get my strength back, but I really
Mhm.
do feel like it comes back faster than you think. Your muscle memory is just there. And so the weights have gone up every week. And I mean, I'm not fully back to where I was yet, but I'm
Mhm.
also thinking in my head, I have a lot of time just because the season really doesn't quite start for till after the open and stuff. So there's time for sure.
Oh yeah, there's still plenty of time to get you through and get that 100% where you want to be when you should be peaking for
Yeah.
your season. When it comes to training in an environment like TTT or really any type of training camp, is it hard when you are coming back from an injury or surgery to not maybe go that extra mile to, almost keep up with everyone?
Yes, it is hard. At first, I was a little intimidated when I got here just because I didn't know I just didn't know where I was at, I guess.
Mm,
But when you do get into that environment, like no matter what you're going through, everyone has something that they're dealing with. I think your body and your brain just kind of go into that like competitive mode, and you end up doing things that you didn't think you could do. And so, yes, it's like there's times where maybe you want to do the workout exactly how it's written, but your body doesn't feel good. And so you just kind of know your body good enough, and no one cares. Like it's there's no there's no jealousy or like weird like we all just want to get better, and we all want the best for each other. And
mm.
so whether that's modifying one day or skipping out on whatever like everyone else is doing, everyone's super supportive of each other, so that's helped a lot with that.
What ultimately led you to decide to move to Georgia for the entire season?
So I came last year for after quarterfinals, and I ended up staying for 3 months. It was not planned at all. It just kind of happened, and I went with it. And I felt like I had taken so many steps forward in those 3 months. And so after last season, I told myself, I was like, I'm gonna go there for the full season this year and see what happens.
Mm.
And I've been working with Adam for 3 years now, and it just makes the biggest difference having me here, and so he can watch me and coach me in person. It's just a huge game changer. So that was ultimately the biggest thing. Being able to be coached in person, and then having training partners, and just being in an environment where everyone kind of has the same lifestyle and the same
Mhm.
goals. So yeah.
Last season, you really did have an incredible performance at West Coast Classic, that semifinal. I mean, you were right on the cusp of punching your ticket to the games. Then you went to Last Chance Qualifier, obviously didn't make it to the CrossFit Games, but from both of those big competition, individual elite competitions, what are some of the experiences that you've taken away from that have gone into training this season?
Well, not qualifying. uh, it definitely, whether I liked it or not, I really do think that I needed that. I've been trying to qualify for 5 years now, and it's been
Mhm.
a long haul. And I think not qualifying was probably, even though I didn't, obviously I wanted to qualify with every part of me. Looking back at it now, it's like I feel like I'm a completely different person this year because of not qualifying. And I think sometimes it's like a hard pill to swallow and think that way. But I believe like I wasn't meant to be there last year. And I don't know why last year wasn't my year. I felt like it at the time, and it was so frustrating, and I was so mad for months after West Coast, and had so much anger and frustration, and it really just like I think made me come back to my why and made me realize how bad I want it and how what I'm willing to do to make that come true. Because if I did qualify, I don't know if I would have came. I mean, I probably would have came here, but I just don't know where I would be. Like I have no idea. So I really do think that everything happened the way it was supposed to. Um, but I think ultimately not qualifying is what has made me so hungry this year and have that like redemption. And I think failing kind of sparks that again. And it also made me realize how much I love to compete. And it made me kind of fall in love with the process of competing in CrossFit. And I think also my injury, although it was super frustrating, it kind of brings you back to the basics, and it makes you
Mm.
restart, and it makes you mature almost and be smart about training. Because I mean, you have to be really, really smart when you're coming back from an injury. So I think all of those things combined kind of has helped.
Yeah, and even when I think about, when you were talking about your injury and how like the liquid in the cyst got harder because you waited longer, who knows if you did qualify for the games? I mean, there's probably no way you would have gone to the doctors to have it taken care of before that. So
I know.
who knows?
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. That's how I have to look at it.
And now this year it's just getting started. But how has competing as an individual been different than a couple years ago when you used to compete in the teenage division?
Oh my gosh. Well, the teenage division then was not what it is
Very
today.
different.
Yeah. I mean, I look back and I could barely do muscle ups when I qualified for my first CrossFit Games. So that's pretty crazy. Um, it's just so much harder than I could have ever imagined. Like the girls are just getting so much better every year, and so the expectations are just higher. Um, I would say it's been very humbling because I mean, years ago, if you would have asked me, when do you plan on qualifying? I would be like, oh, right after I get out of the teen division. But I mean, like I said, it's been 5 years, and I can't believe that it's been 5 years, but it's also been 5 years of, building and growing and learning. And I think everyone's process is different. Some people are going to, make it right away. Some people are going to take a little bit longer, but everyone has their own path, and this is mine. And I kind of have accepted that, I've learned so much along the way, and I wouldn't take anything back. I wouldn't change anything. Um, but it's definitely very different from the teenage division. I would say that. Yeah.
We're just about to start the 2022 season with the Open coming up. What is your ultimate goal for this season?
Um, to qualify for sure. I don't have a goal for the Open. I just want to, qualify for the next stage. I don't think, I mean, my fitness is getting there. It's more so the strength stuff that I'm still working on with my knee. So as long as I can get through the Open healthy and get through quarterfinals healthy, make it to my semifinal, that's the goal, is to start peaking around then so that way I can qualify for the games.
If you get to have any say or choice in which semifinal you go to this year, would you want to go back to the West Coast Classic, or because of how it ended, would you prefer to go to a different one? Like, do you want the redemption or a fresh slate? What goes on in your head with that?
I would have loved to go back to West Coast. I loved that competition. I had so much fun. But I guess they're not doing the West Coast Classic this year. I
Oh, yeah,
loved
that's
and
right.
saw that.
Yep, that just came
Yeah,
out.
so I would have loved to do that. I love the programming.
2023, it's coming back.
Yeah. Oh, it is.
Yes,
Is
yes,
I
it'll be back.
okay.
So they're taking
Okay.
this year off. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I honestly don't care wherever I end up, wherever they place me, I'll be happy. But yeah, West Coast would have been really fun to kind of redeem myself there, but maybe I'll have to wait.
Until next year.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, Alexis, thank you so much for taking the time to catch up with us. We know that you're going to have great things to come out with. You've been in many of our Young Guns stories. So the team at Morning Chalk Up, we have a lot of faith in you and can't wait to see what you do this season.
Thank you so much.